Hello and welcome to this. We'll discuss a variety of issues and things that are coming up in the community, topics to unpack, because we are the manifestors of the future, of our present reality. And if we don't know all the truths and all the variables, it makes it harder for us to dig and dive into this world as well as possible. So we have a few clips that we're going to go through today and discuss, and we'll just keep growing together because that's all we can do with the information. There is so many lies that we were told from the get-go. Can we trust anything we've ever heard in TV? Who even knows? Probably not. Or with great discernment, there must be had. So we're going to dive in with one of our people that you might know from the spiritual consciousness panel that we do, and he's been holding down the fort himself for a while. And that is David Cole, the lion of TikTok and YouTube. And he's got his brother on the show, but his brother is actually a very talented gardener with lots to say on the issues of earth and what we can do to make our world more livable and sustainable. So his brother is Andrew Cole, the future of gardening. And this will be just one clip that we'll continue to go through as we unpack all these varied items.
And so he said, I go by the nickname The Future of Gardening. I have a YouTube channel where I teach people to intentions for us to do. But I did pick up what I could, learned what I could, and I took off running with it.
Beautiful. So a story a lot of us can relate to, especially like if you were a millennial, you might have had it. And then I don't know about kids today. There is a problem. There's a lot of entertainment options that they have that keep them from going outside. And this is a huge disconnect from nature because we know school does, for the most part, has not much in regards to nature. Like there's certain classes, like I remember all the way in grade 11, I finally got to take environmental science, and we had some nature in that, but not a lot, and not a lot. And that was grade 11. So these are things that we need to be bringing to our children, because gardening is something we can all do. Now, this man has taken it as his profession to bring people, he's invented, or he knows of, sorry, a lot of technologies and herbs that help and can be beneficial. And this is just what happens when you work with earth, because earth provides, she provides. But likewise, like there's this relationship, this symbiotic relationship where we work her and she works for us, because as humans, that's just part of the game. We're part of something here to be architects of this world. We're here to be, like some say, we're the neurons, right? Because we're the thinking, producing aspect of earth. So when it comes to things like gardening, it can't be overestimated, because there's not enough of it. Like you can't do enough of it. Like unless you're staying up 24 hours a day because you have like some psychosis about needing to garden, you really can't garden enough, and you really can't plant enough. Like rip up your yards as much as possible. It doesn't have to be in one go. Like every year I take more and more of the lawn out in the front and the back. And in the back, I get the free, because it's really fenced in, high fences. And I've let trees grow all around the outside. So it's creating its own like forest as well that goes even higher than the fences. And this just creates clean air. And I live in like a small little town surrounded by an hour's stretch of country all around us, and the lake even on the one side. So we do have a good energy of nature here. But again, you can never have too much. You can never have too much nature, because humans themselves are a contaminant agent. Our auras, our energetic debris, it doesn't just debris up our auras, it also permeates into all of the ether, all of this energetic realm that we exist within, that we're learning more and more every day how real it is, but we just can't see it. Like insects, as far as they can tell, cannot see us for the most part. Like they climb up on us like it's nothing. They don't understand what we are. Like mosquitoes are probably the most ones that really see us, because we're a food source to them. And that's just getting really off the wall debating insects. But the point here is that we are in that way insects to that energetic realm. To each one of us, there's like a trillion different entities on multiple layers. You see a lot of these images coming out where they show like the planes of existence, and it's not a bunch of different realms. It's all here. Like the etheric realm is on Earth as well. It's like when you go to the etheric realm, you don't necessarily leave Earth. I know we can travel through planets easier because we can access stargates and things like that in the etheric realm, with which lots of people have experience with in astral travel. But the point here is that you don't have to do anything fancy to connect with your earth etheric realm and nature, earth, like the plants, the vegetation, and the food you can grow in your own little, you don't even, if you don't even have land, if you just have balcony. I used to watch tons and tons of YouTube videos in my early awakening just on simply gardening. And there were so many people doing miraculous things. Like there's vertical farming you can do, and you can get big grow kits that are these vertical systems that keep it lit and watered inside a place if you don't have the space. But if you do, get rid of the lawn, and little by little, I dig up the front for nice little gardens that are cute. And then the back, I just destroy it. Like I'll lay stuff out, kill the grass, because when you kill the grass, other things like vines and cloves, violet flowers, that's the kind of things I'll get that just take over that land instead. And then that's a lot easier. And then eventually that doesn't grow up. Those are all like, well, cloves only get so big and the violet flowers only get so big. And then the vines, they grow vertically, so you're in the clear without having to mow the lawn. But you're still, because every time you mow the lawn, you're traumatizing earth. Think about it. And anytime you're doing anything drastic, sometimes you do need to cut down like the foliage that will build itself up upon your own land. I had to learn that the hard way, because I tried to go completely au natural and not mow the lawn and just let it. I thought I didn't, it will become a forest really quickly. And that's how I got a lot of my trees. But that's okay, because I like what I have now, and it's just maintaining and realizing sometimes you do have to cut it down or it'll take over your entire yard or your garage, which was happening with one of our rose bushes. Or it'll, you want to still be able to use your yard. And then as much as possible, plant things that you can eat, a food forest. So whatever it is. And then I've been playing throughout the years, because I'm not much of like a consistent waterer. I like to plant things, but then it's like you're on your own. You know what I mean? I'm not a go out there and water it daily kind of person. Luckily, we don't live in a desert, but still, some things need a lot of water. But certain things like tomatoes always grow; they're great. Cucumbers always grow; they're great. Pumpkins, watermelons, I've heard, but I haven't tried myself. And raspberries. I have raspberries. They are fantastic for, like, honestly, you have to cut them back. They love to grow so much. And it's funny because in the beginning of the season, I get like lots and lots of little raspberries. And then around this time of the season, I get like giant, but not as many raspberries. And then there was like a middle point where it just died off. Kind of didn't die, but like it stopped producing. And now it's into the season of producing the giant ones. So that's just fascinating. You get to know these things when you experience it. Rose of Sharon. That's right outside my window now, like here, because I'm all windows here. And it's just the most beautiful thing ever. It's such a beautiful plant. It doesn't bloom till a little later, but then you have the blooms later. And that has grown up. It started just on the one part of my fence, because I have my yard fenced and then there's a side yard in front. So the side yard here is where they're growing all up the side, all along the front of my house. Like, just please take over, Rose of Sharon, because they are absolutely like exquisite. Like, it's art. And as much art as we can place in the world, the better. So just looking at and seeing beauty, right? Like a full thing of clean grass was like a British royal thing that somehow, just like babies having cribs and all kinds of narratives you can get into, was us trying to just be fancy and royal. But you have to ask yourself, how happy were they? In a lot of cases, the royals didn't live as long as the common person, because the way they lived their life was for luxury and not pragmatic. It was not there for their soul, and it wasn't even there to fully nourish their body. So as much as and potatoes are very, very, very easy, and you get lots of them. So, and they grow in most places, and you can grow them inside in just these cloth things now where you can open the bottom. I want to get those, because that'd be so much easier rather than dig them all up, because you can end up missing some, right? But if you have the big bag, you just take the big bag, you got tons of potatoes just there and ready for you. I haven't tried that system yet though, so it might not be the thing. And raised garden beds, I did that as well to like avoid the grass and try to just avoid having to weed. Like he mentioned, having to weed. I remember doing that as a kid, having to weed all the time. But yeah, we used to have to rake up the lawn for rocks and all these specific things that I just never bothered doing, because my parents were very like on the yard being very nice. But my mom did. She used to have big giant tires where she had gardens in, and she'd grow stuff and beans. And it's just a nice experience to have. Oh, and I have apple trees. Apple trees. That's so, and they're even they're teeny tiny, and they actually produced apples. I had to like stick a thing under one of them, because they're just like turning into Tim Burton trees, because the apples are so heavy for them. But it's such a nice experience, and it's so, I can't tell you how rewarding it is. And I'm not that girl naturally. Like, I'm very fire, which I tell everyone all the time, which means like things like gardening are just not like off the cuff for me, where I know some people take to it naturally, and that's beautiful. But for the rest of us, it can take some effort. But it's one of those things that you want to do just absolutely regardless. Okay, so let us jump into our next clip here, and we will discuss some more news. Okay, so I just brought everything up, and we'll start with this one. Yeah, so that's pretty intense, isn't it? That's pretty extreme to see what can happen to the parasites inside our body. Because we don't just want to garden the earth, we want to make sure we are gardening the self. We want to make sure that we are completely taking care of ourselves, that we are looking at all the variables in our health. And one of the things, it's coming more online in the spiritual community, in the community that you probably are all very aware of and versed in. So I'm going to read just the tag here of the thing, just in case you didn't get a chance to see it. The power of clove water versus human parasite. No wonder it's so powerful. Most people add a clove or two into their drinking water can for the day. Amazing practice to cleanse the water, and that's by Onano Herbals on X. And exactly, yeah. Wormwood too. I do a lot of wormwood. Clove too, but clove's a little harder to. I have it in an essential oil, and then I put it in coconut oil, and that's amazing. Oh my God. The Lion, David Cole, who we saw in our first video, I won Best Director in the New York Tri-State Film Festival. Wow. Fantastic, David. Congratulations. Like, I mean that deeply and truly, because, it's nice when you see this kind of material, like the true Yes, back in I was going to switch to my phone. We're just seeing all these people, and I'm one of them that just keep getting pushed because I was one of those people that was like, oh, who am I to do anything? Who am I? Everyone's heard my story. And if you haven't, it's in lots of my videos, but who am I to do anything, right? No, each and every one of us is the all that is mind and is God, like to that degree. And it's not like solipsism where it's just me is God. It's everybody is God, but there's only the one all, and it's individuate, no time and space. This is why the vastness of no time and space is explosive, and it can, honestly, you should go into cognitive dissonance when you think about it. It's that powerful. The all is mind, and that's all there is about it, right? Like, because that's all there is about it, except there's a billion variables when it comes to that. And that's first and foremost thinking correctly and then acting correctly. But that means being aligned with your own authentic truth. And I've been down the toxic positivity road many years ago. It's not the way, although sometimes it's the way if you're in such a dark mindset to split to the positive. There might be a bit where you're trying it on and seeing how it feels. And then you work through it and you get more authentic. And then you come out the other end, because David is a perfect example of somebody that's had a full spiritual awakening, has full, I don't want to say full knowledge, but like enough. Like there's a point where it's like, this is good. This is good. That's why I'm starting the news show now. It's like, I feel like I've learned everything there is to learn. And that's not to say I retained all of it, because, where you get epiphanies and where you get just revelations. And yeah, David agrees. He's had quite enough. Yeah, you just get to a point where you're reading new books, but you're like, but I know all this and I know that. And it's like your life really starts to call for actualization, and more than just perfecting the self, like things like gardening. It actually, and Sarah, the alchemist, who, I'm a fangirl. Yeah, I just had her on a couple weeks ago again, and it gets better every time. But she even said just recently, oh no, I forgot because I was too excited about Sarah. Shoot, there's no one here to ask what I was just saying. But yeah, David, I'd love to have you on soon to talk about this huge. I knew you were putting, yeah, that's amazing that you have won this, because that's such a gift. Sarah said we have to tell other people. And I already knew this from the raw material and A Course in Miracles. Big, if you're going to read something, those are things to read. And they both mention, I like learn, teach. That's how Rob puts it. Learn, teach. You can't fully learn unless you teach. But like I did that. Like if you go back, I have years and years of material and I'm teaching. Feel like because I had to spill it all out. I spilled out everything I knew. And then that's it. And then now we're in this new phase where we're finding new information. We're learning new things, like how important parasites are. Like you see hints of it, like in the Bible, like don't eat pork, and then you don't understand why. And you just, yeah, now we know because pork is filled with parasites. So would we, apparently, and so would dogs, because we're the kind of creatures that eat about anything, and you get parasites. And oh, yay, David agrees to come on soon. And we had something else we wanted to discuss and tell everyone about, but lol, don't remember it now. But I remember there was something. But yeah, parasites, honestly. Oh, but lived eating it anyways because, food's delicious. But you break that habit. And once you do, once you're on healthy eating, which I'm back on, knock on wood, I'm really doing good lately. But once you're back on it, you don't even crave the junk. This is like going to a party and then them offering you, like I've been gluten-free for eons, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't still sneak a treat because sugar is so addictive. And sugar is the number one fuel for parasites. And then things that like, so eating gluten or dairy for years when you're allergic, and at this point I think most people are getting themselves allergic, especially in North America because of how toxic the bread is. And this just creates like a toxic environment. Like imagine if you're pouring sewage on your beautiful property, and what would happen? You would start to get like, it would fester. Like what does still water do that's just got garbage in it? It festers. Well, we ourselves can have that in us, and that's like candida. Like there's like, so an overgrowth of yeast inside your, like your whole entire digestive system. Gertz is another one. So people think they have acid reflux. It could actually be a lot more toxic. And then things like Tums and the medication they'll give you for it are deadly toxic. And I used to take Tums all the time. And then I used to think they were fine. Oh, they have calcium. Even when I was early awakening, that was early. I did realize soon in they were bad. But that was one thing I was like, how could that be bad? But no, it is. And it's extremely, extremely toxic. And no, right? So instead of taking the medicine that suppresses what's going on in your digestive system, instead just fix what you're eating. And then it comes down to the Daniel diet from the Bible. So no altering of the food product whatsoever. I'm just getting my phone ready because if I go for a long time, I switch to my phone. But then it goes fuzzy. So I have to choose cutout or fuzzy. But 'tis the country life, and it's okay. But yeah, let's move on to our next clip because I could go on for hours and hours and hours about the benefits of getting rid of parasites. And just remember clove and wormwood and you're good. There's lots of other things that can help, but clove, it's like, well, if you get, and which I have, which is why I'm scared, if you get the clove essential oil on your skin by accident, so just like simply trying to put it in your mouth, like it's like a burn, like it'll burn you. I had that, yeah, ouch. And I was warned, but usually with essential oils, I don't dilute them because I just find most of them put a burn, except like peppermint gets a little much, but oh my, if you've ever been burned by peppermint, times that by like 100, and that's clove. But coconut oil, if you have the essential oil, or there's other ways to take clove. Like I know people get the actual ones and just make clove tea and stuff like that. And then as for my wormwood, I use a tincture and I love it. And it has like kind of I don't drink alcohol anymore. I quit. That was one of the first things I did many eons ago. But it has that almost like where it reminds you of like, because it's very like a whiskey. It's like shooting some whiskey or bourbon. And when you're taking a shot of wormwood, and I do even dilute that with water, obviously, because, but let's move on to our next clip and that's one of the things as humans we do need to get on, and that's stop being so spoiled. We are spoiled rotten, just as humanity in general, because, we like tasty things, we like dopamine, we like happiness, and these things can just not, they need better. Oh, look, and here we go. I saved this one right here. So let's keep going with this topic. Wormwood treatment kills, sorry, I lost my place. I was looking around. Kills all infesting protozoan infection in the body, cures insomnia, nervous disease. It is the strongest remedy for quickly bringing the sick in order. Wormwood therapy relieves almost all inflammatory diseases, especially in lesions and the digestion tract and genital tract. Wormwood is bitter and poisonous. Oh. It cleanses the body from various harmful living organisms in it. Trichomonads, chlamydia, sorry, rude. Herpes, candida, giardia. Oh, this is embarrassing. Echinococcus infection. I actually took a medical terminology course before. Would you know it? Course of treatment with bitter wormwood. The first 3 days, every 2 to 2.5 hours, take a pinch, small teaspoon of dry wormwood, regardless of meals. Well, what I do is I just take like 2 squirties of my vial in some water at night. I don't know why, just because I take passion flower at night and it's also a tincture. So that's usually why I'll do it then. And I'll just throw them all in. And I have a bunch of tinctures I'll take. Dandelion is one that's really good for you, but honestly, it stimulates appetite. And like, I'm a girl, I don't want to stimulate my appetite. I don't know. If you need to stimulate your appetite, it's great for you. And it does so many amazing things. So when I'm better on my eating, maybe I can start taking it again. Because, humans have it in their brain that they need to eat way more than they actually do. That's a huge thing we need to get over. We actually do not need to, I can't even say that. I've had my channel banned before for saying that F word. But there's just a lot of things that can be done. Okay, more health. I love health news. That's how I woke up, was the health world. Really woke up. I mean, I've always been awake to spirit, but then you didn't, there's levels where you didn't realize like everything in society is a complete lie. There's levels. Okay, so.
I've had no chemotherapy. I've had no radiation. I chose Dr. Brzezinski instead after a lot of research.
Awesome. Because this is huge. This is huge. And this is just one of many things, like evidence where people have been like, there was a cure. And this is 42 years ago. The cure for cancer was discovered. Thanks to Phoenix Dragon for this. And that was Barbara O'Neill before, although I have noticed she has a lot of people make accounts under her name because she's the person. Dr. Eric used to be my doctor, and I cancel, nullify, not gonna say the words, but you don't need those people if you have these people. Like Barbara O'Neill's fantastic. And usually the people I've seen copying her are still doing a good job, or she's a team. There's just like websites that like there's a bunch and it's like, why would she have so many? I doubt it's her. And you can just tell when it's genuinely her. She's on Instagram too. Okay, so that's it for now. And then so with the cancer or the health topic, because this cancer situation, and I have another one somewhere that I have to find, because they were talking about how tumors are simply pockets for toxins. And we know this ourselves based on free radicals are what create cancer. Like you always have these cancer cells in you and free radicals turn into them, but they start to clump together and they create like tumors, but they were calling pockets for toxins. So when you do things like get a biopsy, like they wonder why like somebody seems sort of fine, and then all of a sudden they found out they had cancer, and then they got way worse, like they get way worse. Well, there's the all is mind part of it, absolutely, but then there's also like a physiological effect when they stab in to do a biopsy. They release all those toxins into the system that fled through the bloodstream, and now your cancer is getting much worse and growing into other areas that it might not have been before. And people don't seem to put two and two together. But I think we're seeing, especially in this era now of rapid cancers and all these things popping up because of you know what, that like we're clearly seeing the evidence in the narrative that it's toxins. It's toxins of the body, but it's also toxins of the mind, because there's so many people. Like my neighbor, I love her, but she's in her 80s and she smokes like all the time. That's how I know her so much, because I'm not really social, but she's always out there and she's sweet. She seems like she was a nerd back in her day, just like I was. But she smokes, and that's just from her generation. So, but and no judgment to people that smoke. I like nicotine too. Who doesn't? It's actually good for you. It's just the way that we get it is not. And there's lots of things like that in our society, in this world, that we're being poisoned with. But first and foremost, it's like poisoning of the mind. And I see that she's really a simple. She has, her daughter lives right beside her. They bought a house. Her cousin lives in the next house, and then her sister lives behind me. So like I'm like, lol. I was like, were you mad at me for buying the house? Like, was this for a relative? Because they're like taking up the neighborhood because they're born from here. Because this town is actually used to be much more quiet. And I'm lucky I got one of the older houses, but it's one I didn't know it was up and coming when I came here. It's kind of good, kind of bad, because they're making everything nicer, but it's also the population's getting bigger, and we came here because it was smaller. But it is what it is. 'Tis life, especially in Ontario, because they seem, I mean, we all cluster around the GTA, and I guess I'm no better. I did move much farther out, but it's still like what's happening to Toronto. It's like a boom, like you would have saw happen in New York over the years. It's Toronto. It just keeps getting wider, and then so like your suburbs spread out, and it's people travel for hours to work in Toronto. It's insane. Like I have luckily COVID let a lot of them work online, which is more beneficial, because imagine like just that kind of stress on your life is yet another thing that would add to the building up of toxins and cancer. And then there's your whole soul point of surviving or not surviving, and getting these choice points to survive or not survive, because our body will give us hints. Like we talked earlier about things like acid reflux that becomes things like GERDs and like candida infections in the body, which is just like overrun with parasites now, like overrun. Parasites will also think for you. They will give you negative thoughts. Like when you clean your diet and your mind gets cleaner, it is also because the sugar and all that stuff's gone. That's part of it, because that affects your brain as well. But also the parasites will dominate. They will dominate your thought patterns. They like negativity. So I have theories that they might actually be like embodiments for darker entities, or either way, like, because they work symbiotically. Because you'll notice, like, when you have more parasites in your system, you will have, and if you want to investigate, you can. It'll be gross. You don't have to like touch it, but if you want to like look at your stuff when you do your business in the toilet, oftentimes you can see it. If you see like any kind of, this is getting gross, but I've studied this a lot. If you get like just intellectually, if you get and look and there's like mucus around your excrement, you got problems. And if you can see like little white lines and you could just kind of see stuff, you got parasites. You got lots if you can see them, like lots. And that's okay though, no shaming, because that's just society. That's our food system. Even if you avoid fast food, it's still in so many things. Like my mom used to make hamburger help her all the time and like think it was good, and it's not. It's very toxic. Any of the boxed spices, anything where you get like a prepackaged spice system, it can be very, very bad. Parasites work like a collective consciousness. They manipulate human behavior into herd patterns. Yes. Oh, I didn't even think about that. It adds to the sheeple nature. I believe it. Absolutely. Because, there's just so many things, like from signals they're sending to us from Wi-Fi towers and who knows what else that we don't even know about. That there's someone randomly at my door the other day. I wanted to like check if they like plan. I'm actually not like that. I'm not suspicious, but you really should be. For those people that are super, super suspicious, and I get how you can be like that. I had my moments. I've made a tinfoil hat like over 10 years ago now, or no, about 10 years ago now, because just to try it, because I was in that lower state where I could just feel all the negativity coming at me. But the truth is all you have to do is strengthen your aura. And that's just taking care of the body and the mind. So think clean, eat clean, live clean. Hi, Raquel. Thank you for being here. I love seeing you all. But yeah, because you just need to keep the self clean. And then you see why a lot of the narrative in the former religions was purify, purify, purify. And then you saw how the many religions, not just the Christian religion, many religions, even Buddhism's had their own certain, because you can have denominations. They had their own denominations that would also kill people for discretions and things like that, and corporal punishment and things like that. Very rare in Buddhism, but there was the odd one that did go kind of rogue and get really, really strict with it. So we have examples of literally even the most peaceful religion where humans found a way to like get in and tamper with the message, because the message is purity. The message is cleanliness. The message is do unto others as you would do unto yourself. But that's all for actually self-serving reasons at its core. And like it is for the all, it is for everyone, but you are everyone. You are the world. You are the earth. You are an anchor in this world for the earth. You're an embodiment of the earth. You're an embodiment of the solar system. You're an embodiment of the sun, of the moon. Debatably on, the facts with our moon, I think at some point it is meant to be good. It's just there is a twisted narrative there. What it actually is, who knows? It could even be a good thing, the way it's directly connected to us. There's so many rabbit holes you could go down, and we'd have to get in a rocket ship and go check it out ourselves to know. So we could really only, fanciful about that. I like learning that stuff about aliens and space, but we can only go so far with definitely proving it. So it's just like kind of an intellectual adventure where learning about our health, learning about Carl Jung and our actual psyche, and things like the raw material and A Course in Miracles, they both help you deeply with understanding the self and, of course, the power of now. That was like, whoa, of course. But they both help you with understanding exactly how you should be living this life in this incarnation and in this embodiment. And yeah, exactly. There is good and bad in everything. It's all in perspective. And exactly that, because the all is mind, because morality really kind of, and this is like, I know this is like, but morality actually can be subjective, because like, why did you kill that person? Why? There's certain things where you'd be like, there's no mother effing excuse in the whole entire world. Like a certain ring that exists now, Epstein, everyone says that word. Yeah, there's certain things that's just like, no, that's why it's the darkest of dark. I've heard though, I don't like those narratives, because it's like, you want everyone to be saved. We're all those people. So condemning anybody to hell forever is condemning yourself to hell forever, because those are just realms of existence and ways of living, but they're darker places where like nobody would actually want to live forever. Some souls want to go on that adventure. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm not on that adventure. So it'd be really hard to put myself in that position and understand. But what we can understand is that the ultimate, the all, and the soul all does return to the same place of unity. So either way, that does have to be cleared up. Some people say they can't clear it up in this lifetime and they just have to go, and they'll have to come back to clear it up in another lifetime, because that kind of transgression is, but I don't know. I don't believe in not forgiveness, and that sounds dark, but we all have these kinds of stories. It was very, very prevalent in society up until very, very, very recently. Like the last couple decades, people are kind of like, oh, that's not cool. Yeah, it's not cool. So we need to continue to purify, because continuing to purify the self continues to purify all of consciousness. The collective consciousness continues to get purified. So we might not have anything to do with a certain ring going on, but we might have other things that we do that in our morality is not okay. because we're crossing our own morality lines. And that's where you really have to get discerning and sovereign and just, am I actually cool with this? Like so many things, like speeding or doing improper traffic stuff. Like some people don't care. They drive around and they actually don't care, and they're really good drivers. Good for them. Some people do care. Some people are like, oh God, I couldn't, and that's a lame example, but there's so many examples where things happen. And even like relationships, how people treat are you monogamous? Have you cheated? Things like that can also be variables depending. You don't know what that relationship was like. And it is a true story that sometimes those things make a relationship better. And it is a true story that sometimes horrible things can actually awaken someone to be a better person. So everything does have its time and its place and its moment, when especially you're in divine alignment, when you're in that sovereign discernment, because then you can see it all clearly. And it just naturally helps you clear out your life. So sometimes, like, even if you are in a poor me state, you still can see it for what it is and monitor the situation. And you can kind of let yourself go through like a fall, but understanding that the whole time, like never losing consciousness of the fact, where there's other people that like will completely throw away their life, or even us in our pasts completely throw away our life. I don't give an F if I die. I don't give a shit about anybody. Like people all have these states, especially people that do drink. And when they hit the sauce too hard, like I was a very bad drunk, very bad. And sometimes I'd have so much fun. I'd always have very much fun, but I didn't make it fun for everybody because I was very much like F life, F everybody. My life is blah and everybody else is happy. And there's a lot of us that came from that place and that narrative. And that's just simply being trapped in our own pain and not being able to see outside clearly. This is why ignorance is often the case of what evil usually is. There is pure evil. I'm not an evil denier. But a lot of the time, just with your average Joe human, it's that they are ignorant to a very important fact, that they are God, that they are so important. It's ridiculous. And the one thing, like, you do have to get on board with, like, yes, I have limitations, because I want to be like, if I'm God, then why does this, because God signed up. It's like it put in the video game for extremely hard. That's what this 3D human world is, especially in this ascension phase. Although I'm more grateful to be, I don't even know if who knows if I was here before. It's hard to say. I'm not one of those people like, I have like 65 lives. I have like the odd past life memory, and not many of them are here. I have some sensing of being a witch. I think a lot of us do. Lots of it too, which is funny. But then maybe I feel like I took a break after, I don't know. I don't connect a lot to humans. Put it that way. That's all I'm trying to say here. And that just could be this incarnation. I just don't have that connection. And then I think there's a reason, because we're done being that kind of human. We're just done. Like all the star seeds, all of the newer generations, especially, although all generations had the option. Like I know tons of people from before, but you just notice the massive numbers is increasing to the point where they say every single child today is a star seed. Every single child today, apparently since 1999, only like from 2000 on, only good star seeds should be able to be born. I've heard people argue that it's fine, but and the kids are too young to really be like, see, told you they're all good, And even our Gen Zs, like people that would have been born, because we're in 2025, right? So you'll have 25-year-olds that are, but they have it real hard, man. They have it harder than us. Jeez, like what happened to them? I've heard some stories. Oh my God. I have actually, let me see. Do I have one of those videos? Because I want to show you. Let me see. Because it's actually, this is a dicey topic. I wasn't sure if I was going to show it, because I'm not exactly an expert, except I know what it's like, because star seeds struggle with their gender is where we're going here. And this person looks like a Gen Z, and they're talking about how their teachers, I don't want to give too much away, but there's a narrative being pushed on them like you wouldn't believe. And it makes me sick. It's one of the darkest things. I used to be very upset about it. It's why I homeschooled in the beginning, because I was so scared about it. But that's a whole journey I've spoken about before. But they're in school, and I just signed them out of the sex class that starts really early. Like I think grade one, they start. She wasn't even in grade one, but I didn't even put her until grade two. My youngest just started in senior kindergarten. Technically, the middle one started in senior kindergarten, but he's the one that's like nonverbal. So, and does, so good luck indoctrinating him. He's actually indoctrinating them. I've watched EA after EA have like a mental breakdown, or you see them rise above and become like much stronger people. It's beautiful. Or you see people that are really good-hearted, true people. So it has its own different, beautiful journey. Okay. Oops. what am I doing? Okay, oh, hitting place. There we go. And listen to her. I loved her. She said it so perfectly. Hmm. Exactly. And my sister was kind of a tomboy at first, which is funny because she's way girlier than me now, and she's a super goddess. I'm jelly, like you wouldn't believe. She's beautiful. Um, but she used to even pee standing up. I think because she was obsessed with my dad. She's like not big, but she's 5'9". She's very slender though, same size bones as me, but whoa, tall. Well, for our family, we had a short family. But yeah, so yes, this is exactly what's happening to them is they're getting these narratives. And I'm sorry I was very annoying during that because I can't get it to go full screen without making my whole screen full, but oh well. Oh no, no sound. Oh, is there no sound in that whole video? Oh no. Okay, well, she's a trans girl that said that she was told by her teachers and by her teacher mainly and her friends that she's trans, that she should get binders, that she like, and they kept saying it over a long period of time. They'd be whispering to her, not whispering, but straight up telling her, sorry, that, oh, are you trans? And they're trying to be like open and like give her this space to like come out as her true self. And then even she talks about when she finally did come out as a lesbian in later high school, they still were like, oh no, you're trans. No, it's okay. It's okay, you're trans. And it's like, no. Like this is why they call it like they want to lump it in with the same community, like the LGB, but I've heard lots of them say like they're not the same community because they're actually an eradication of that community. They're actually genocide of that community to a large degree because these people are going through hormone imbalances that I think a lot of star seeds have touched upon. And then there's some star seeds that and star seeds are meant to be androgynous. So I had a similar journey. I do like to be a girl because I'm very Venus, But at the same time, I also didn't feel like other girls. I wasn't anything like other girls. And then so it does cross your mind. Would it be better to be a boy? Like back then, I used to think it'd be better to be a man. And that was before this topic came up. I didn't know anything about this topic until the whole bathroom thing, which I kept telling everyone is stupid, is fake news. They're covering something up. But then I didn't realize they were planting the seeds. The bathrooms was the test of society. And we actually failed that test because it wasn't as obvious. I didn't realize at the time. I didn't care. I just kept telling anyone that wanted to talk about it, I'd be like, shut up. Like, who cares? Because it didn't seem like it mattered. I was like, give them bathrooms if they want bathrooms. Like, what is this about? Like, what's it matter? Because I didn't actually know it was such a huge issue. I didn't realize they were coming after the children. And then, whoa, that was just like, I was already awake at that point, but there's just so many layers. Like, that's why it's like, if someone wants to tell me there's like a government agency living under my house, like, okay, you probably, like, because it's getting to that level where you're like, of course there's a nefarious plot. Like, of course there's a nefarious plot. They don't care about these people. And I'm all for an adult that authentically, well, I don't know, like, I'm not really for plastic surgery, period. Like, you just don't do that. Like Christian Scientists, I think, like I remember watching Grey's Anatomy eons ago and being like, that's dumb. But now I'm like, no, actually, that's actually because you don't want people, like if you're getting surgery, it should be psychic surgery. And I've seen those things done in Asia. Man, they know their stuff. And like they have an ultrasound on it. And of course, it could be faked. I'm always open to that too. But I do believe it because I know other miracle cases where people were just miraculously healed. And funny enough, my own mom, who didn't end up making it, but when she first got her diagnosis, she was actually miraculously healing really well. But then something came out shortly after, and she went and got a bunch of those and didn't make it because that's just the way it is. But there is miracle healings, and people really do overcome this stuff instantly. So like on this ultrasound, they're so showing these people, and they look almost like they are doctors, but they're chanting over her like they had this really cool like throat thing going, oh, and it was like you could feel the vibration and the energy of it, and you watch as it disappears and it's just gone and she's better. And I've seen other examples of that, but that was just like the best way because you got an actual visual of it happening. And it's beautiful because that is how it can work. That absolutely is. Like if you get hit by a bus, you got hit by a bus, do what you got to do. But if you can avoid it, if you can do it yourself, Earth 100% provided the options. And funny enough, I don't know if you can see it on camera. Yeah, you kind of can. I can anyways. See that scar? That's from last year because I sliced my finger so bad. It was a nasty flap. It was gross, really gross flap. Oh, thank you, Karen. I've been trying to, I feel like long nails is like an energy conducting thing. I've been feeling that. So I've been trying to like help them grow, but we'll see. But, oh, now I forgot what I was saying. Oh, well, dang, Karen. Total girl getting on with my nails. Honestly, I think it more boils down to all the role models we have had for what is masculine and feminine are slightly distorted and toxic. We really don't have many good examples of what a true divine feminine and masculine should even look like. Exactly. And on our spiritual panel that Karen and Raquel and David have all been to, we have done a couple episodes. And even Stephen and I did our own version of an episode. And then we even did it on the Church of Christ because we have all these cross-stream shows happening now of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And we just kept like, there's no freaking answer. There is no answer. There is no perfect answer because we don't have these great examples. And that's what I'm like realizing now. And that's why I'm like, okay, I have to stop like looking for who I should be. And I know obvious, but like you really can learn things and then you can gnosis things and you can experience things. Things are on all varied levels. And then that improves your own knowledge and your own gnosis the more you actually experience. Yes, we are the answer. And inside of us, in our troubles, in our tribulations, we find our things to fix. That's it. Don't even worry about being the perfect man or the perfect woman. Be the perfect you. Because we are meant to come in and be more androgynous. Like men, I think that's why we see this, you'll do it for evil, I'll use it for good, that God quote I love. When they toxic the food with the hormones and they made the men are a lot littler now. If you see the Gen Zs, a lot of them are much smaller. And I will see with my kids because they're alphas, if they are even smaller. But there's something to that because there's something about our massive size difference, how it used to be, creates this disconnect because we're visual creatures. You're bigger, you must be better, like, you big man, I better. And like I was just saying about my sister earlier, oh, I'm jealous, she's so tall. Yeah, because bigger's better, right? Like, bigger is better. And then it creates this distortion. You must be smarter too. You must be. And that's not it at all. We are equals, but in different categories. And then that's even starting to spin now. Although there's a lot of things that's like, I'm not a math or science person, and we know men are better at that. Yet hand me a person that has a psychological problem and I could send them away a lot better off very quickly, because I'm very good emotionally, knowing other people's, hearing the stories, and you just unpack them, and I'll just hear something like, oh, that. Because people can have things in their life, like me staying up too late. I kept wanting to get up earlier. And I realized I couldn't get up earlier and then go to bed earlier first. I had to go to bed earlier first and work up to getting up earlier after. And I know that's so silly, but the most silliest things will be what like radically changes our life from this to that. Like, that will just be that tweak we need to improve our situation, the way we feel, because that's the nails, that the way we feel matters. The way we look at ourselves in the mirror. It's why I started wearing makeup again. Even I know it's toxic. Oh, so toxic. But art matters. Art matters to me deeply. I am deep into the arts on everything. I'm painting my bathroom now. Like, it looks like Candyland. It's amazing. Lots of different sections, pink, blues, greens, all. And then my ceiling in my kitchen is like a mosaic. It's all, I'm just, anytime I have to paint something, I'm not going to just go get some paint and like do it all one boring color. No, I'm going to get art paint, and I intricately like actually paint it. And that's just my thing, though. That's what expresses me. And then I get to look around my house all the time. Like, as much as painting art is amazing, but and that's just as amazing. I don't want to, but when you paint it in your house, it's just, you just painted it on yourself in a weird way. And that's also why I like the nails. When you paint on yourself, it does something. It's like you're creating for yourself. You're Michelangelo. Like, you're doing something that is creating more spirit in the body, because that's the ultimate goal, right? More spirit in the body is a better life. And the spirit loves art. The spirit loves art. It loves colors. It loves different things. And then for each of us, it's going to be varied, right? We're all going to have our different tastes of music. Like, we know this in like our group. We're sharing songs and stuff, and it's like we all got our own unique music taste. And you have to be like, oh, you don't think this is the best song ever? But like, everybody has their own souls calling to how they, I have some songs I want to play for this show too, because I still want people to feel the soulness of the songs I like, but I want to test to see if I get flagged for these videos, because I don't want to be like copywriting or stealing or anything. I just want to be the news and show news clips like they do, and bring awareness to issues and show everything that's coming out in one space and discuss it as one smorgasbord, to really, like, I'm all about getting the wires firing to manifest us a better life. So let's go into some health tips here. This one's just a visual, so we won't need to worry about the sound not work. I have no idea what's going on with that either. That was working just fine originally, but haha, tech life. That is the, it's like in work, you have a bad boss, but if you're like a YouTuber, you got to deal with tech. I know Karen's going through this journey herself, and I'm sure David and Raquel do too, but Karen's just getting started up herself. So yay, Karen. That'll be great, because expressing your own self is important, but expressing it on the internet, like, you have technical difficulties you just don't have in other ways. If you just want to write a blog, like, there's probably not many technical difficulties versus trying to produce videos. There's, some. Okay, so the Bible names 8 foods that contains God's medicine. I've eaten these, grown these, and raised my boys on these. Here's the full list of elite biblical foods. So watermelon, amazing. Like, I could live on watermelon. It's just pure water, and it has a vitamin, of course I don't remember, that it only exists inside of inside of watermelon. And it's extremely, extremely beneficial to you. And this was a video series I was going to do. Okay, let's watch one of them, and then let me know if there's no sound, and I'll just cut it off. But let's try. Okay, there's no sound, so that's sad. Deeply saddening. If this doesn't work ever again, then there goes the show idea. But that's okay. I'm being schmite. No. That's fine. I'm super annoyed, but that's okay. That was boring anyways. It's just talking about the benefits of watermelon, which we know are great. Because anyway, like I just want to bring information because that's how I am. And that's just what you can do. You just teach yourself. There's no point trying to teach anyone but yourself, right? The way I'm going to understand because I'm very unique. And like just the way my brain works, ADHD, like, you know, someone distracts me, boop, I forgot what I was saying, but it's still in there somewhere. It'll come back again someday. But that's just how it works. I actually can consume a shocking amount of information and learn stuff extremely fast. So it can be a superpower, but also not. But that's why we'll see. I'll try to get it working later, I guess. But so yeah, so I guess I might as well close up the store. Yeah, let's close the store. Ooh, funny enough, I have a store now though. I'm making awakening. It's the seed collection of clothes, and it's just I've only got one now, but I made in a bunch of different things, like different shirts, man, women, hat, mug. Where it what was it? When you align, you shine. When you align, you shine. And then I found actual ancient Hermetic art, which I'm pretty sure can't be copyrighted, but we'll see. And then it's just amazing. And you can get that through my YouTube or my website. But just seed planters, like just to walk around and plant seeds. I don't know. I just like doing it. It was more another way to do art. But other than that, thank you so much for being here today. I hope the other videos played sound and that wasn't every video without sound. But we'll play it by ear. I will be doing more of these, just bringing the news, bringing the information out there. I just don't feel like going on anymore and teaching spiritual concepts. Like my ADHD is just like bored with it, basically. Like, I'm not bored. Like it still matters so deeply. But I more like want to talk about actual life and where we're going in the future because so much is happening right now and we're the choosers. We are the choosers of the future. But how can we choose if we don't know the facts? Like that example of me talking about the bathrooms back when it started, like 2017 or something. And like, who cares? But because I didn't know why I should care, right? Like if someone tells you to take wormwood, you're like, why? That's gross. Because it'll kill parasites, you know? Like, so the more that we know about this world, because the ancient information and wisdom is amazing, but you could take it all and sum it up. The all is mine. You are God. Do unto others as you would do unto yourself because you are everyone else. Like it's as simple as that. And then you can just say it 20,000 million different ways, and which all helps. But I don't know, for now, I'm moving on to discussing the future. I want to move on to discuss just where we're going and not even trying to point any, although I'm automatically going to end up doing that because we all have our own biases, but just take it as my bias, as my opinion, as my thoughts. I'm an extremely smart person. No, I'm just kidding, but I'm not. But that's my own thoughts on me. That's what I care about. I care about knowing everything, literally everything. I remember I was a journalist when I started life as an adult. That's how I started. So it's cool to come around again, at least for now. And this was amazing. Thank you all for being here. I don't know, it's my art and it fills my soul. So what is your thing to fill your soul? Find your art, find your soul. Thank you for being here. We'll see you all again next time, and goodbye for now.
Round and round the world we spin. Who knows where we're going? Up into ascension we sail. Pop goes the matrix. Here we stand and here we rise. God resides inside you. You are God, and everything is pop goes the matrix. Children, you are deeply loved. Children, you are special. Never feel alone inside. God lives inside you.